I've just hit the record button.
Sweet, thanks.
All right, guys, so let's dive in. As I said, what we're going to talk about is peer leadership roles and the environment, the social environment, or the environment of the recovery house that benefits, your residents. Let's see here. So within the social model, and this is the big thing with the social model, it's peer driven, it's peer led. It's not some supervisor that's sitting at a desk in a corporation, some corporate person. It might be a corporate person, but it's your peer. They've been in the house, they have experienced it. It's a shared experience, a lived experience, rather than your distant superiors. And this includes the residents and the staff. For example, I operate a recovery house, obviously, but my recovery house only takes women right out of prison. I've never been to prison. I'm a person in long-time recovery, and I've been incarcerated, but not in prison. So I need somebody that has been there, that has that lived experience, that's been to prison, basically, that these girls relate to. I mean, they relate to me, but not so much as, I don't want to be that distant superior, if that makes sense. And this is going to vary again, across your different levels of recovery housing. Remember last week we talked about the different levels. One is your democratically led, people are going to be elected. You got your president, you got your person that handles money. It's just, us, let's run this house. Level 2 is, I think, what probably most of us are here today. And you give somebody that role, that responsibility, which is what we're going to be talking about today. You give the residents, their roles and more responsibilities. And then 3 and 4 are the more clinical. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, moving right along, guys, no questions. So now, okay, in this type of setting, what would be the difference in, let's say, criminal justice system or criminal justice system setting where your clients were made to, like a diversion program or intervention in lieu of conviction, drug treatment program? What would be the difference between the social model and this type of program? And you guys can unmute yourself, answer in the chat. I want to hear from you though. Come on, anybody.
Was you asking a question?
Yeah, I'm
And
sorry.
if so, were you asking a question? If so, what was the question?
What would be the difference between this type of setting and, let's say, like a diversion program or a type of program where the residents were forced to be there, basically? Thank you.
Lifting something up from the chat, Lori says some clinical programs have people that don't deal with clients directly. So I think that's a really great example of how in recovery housing, it's much flatter hierarchy, and we're all supporting each other. And earlier I was reflecting, you mentioned that in your particular home, it's specifically for women re-entering from the criminal justice system. And I know that when I've been a house manager in the past, and I've tried to, empower individuals to make decisions, they may have been incarcerated for so long, they've not been able to make decisions before. Right. And so they've not, it takes them a while to understand that, yes, you're part of our family and you're empowered to be part of the family and support each other.
Too much freedom at once is a problem too, because they've not been, able to make decisions. They've been told what to do for, a certain period of time, but it is empowering.
Some other things in the chat. We've got Heather that says recovery housing touches on recovery in all specs of the social environment, physical, emotional, spiritual. Yep. Lori adds that in law enforcement world, it isn't a treatment-based program. Or I would say even a recovery program either. And then Kayla adds, not mandated care, can leave at any time. However, we make a lot of reentry referrals. And if they choose to leave, we contact probation officers. And she says that they are a level 3 home.
Basically, they're forced to be there. They're mandated, like Kayla said. And we want to give them, this is your house. We don't want them to feel like, the recovery house and the social model is different because, you've got like the criminal justice system, you've got these people telling them, that you have to be here. And we want our people to want to be there, right?
Absolutely. Barbara adds in the chat that recovery housing is not a hotel, that we need to build a family of accountability and peers. I think that really gets to your question as well, as how is recovery housing kind of different than, other settings, criminal justice, treatment, et cetera.
Well,
Yeah.
because recovery housing, it can be a challenge for people that's coming out of prison because we're set for a different level of people. And so people that's coming out of prison that aren't really in recovery, they're they're kind of thinking it's a 3/4 house or a halfway house where there's there's still strict structure. And
Right.
so you got somebody looking over your back all the time versus as recovery housing, you kind of, empowered to do your own, make your own life. So it could be a challenge working with people that's coming out of prison for recovery housing, in my
Thank you,
opinion.
Doug. Yes. Great answer. Yes. Thank you for that.
Hey, I agree with that because I've had people coming out the court system in here, but it was basically, it wasn't prison, it was like jail, like drug court. Instead of them going to jail, they go through drug court. Basically, their rules is almost the same as mine. They have to get urine tests regularly and they got to go to X amount of meetings and all that. And all I can do is enforce that for them. I try to encourage them that just due to your consequences, this is how you got this. And I try to encourage them to get in the program, but some of them just doing it because of the courts. So I have to set my boundaries with them and make sure they follow the rules of the house.
Excellent, Diane. Thank
In
you.
the chat, Phil adds a really great comment. He talks about a social model is more like any staff that does oversee the housing are in recovery themselves. It's that,
Yes.
yeah, that peer accountability, peer governance.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Those were all excellent answers. So what would be the benefits basically of a social model recovery home, like we're talking about, like we practice? What are the benefits? And then we'll talk about the challenges. What do you guys think? You can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask or give the answer. What are the benefits of having a peer-driven or peer-led house versus the one in the criminal justice system? We talked about the differences just now. So what are the benefits going to be?
Oh, you had
in this kind of house.
You had a freedom to come and go. You're being empowered to reach your own goals. You still being, held accountable, but that in itself is empowering, for some of us. And so, and being able to see that other people are really doing it, that kind of, gives you hope that you can do it too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Jeff says mutual support, and Lori says positive support persons, shared experiences. That's right. I mean, that's a benefit for our residents, because like in my experience, I want somebody that's been there, and my residents want somebody that's been there, that's not just reading from a textbook or preaching what they've learned. So great answers, guys. Terminology, more self-driven. Yes. Responsibility. Yes.
Ooh, I like that. Mistakes made is learning opportunity and not just a jail sentence. Amen to that.
Yes, Heather. Okay, guys. Anybody got any more benefits? there's a lot more benefits, but we'll move on to the challenges. What are going to be some of the challenges of having a peer-led house versus any other kind of house, like a criminal justice or where they're forced to be there, basically? What's the challenges of having, a peer-driven house, a social model? There's challenges too, guys.
Well, one of the challenges is ego for the senior resident or whatever. Some people feel picked on. There's a lot more, but I'm a regress and let somebody else answer.
I like it. Thank you.
I'm gonna say that because not all the clients are there for the same reason. So you might get someone that's coming in that's in, out of an institution that is coming in for a place to stay as opposed to wanting to be there and working on their recovery. That could, throw some things off without guidance of like an authoritative role.
Jeff, I love it. The residents could take over your house. Yes, yes, definitely. Lori, not everyone has the same experiences, so it can be difficult. Right, kind of piggybacks on Chris. Not all peers have been exposed to healthy functioning family. That's a really good answer as well. When you're bringing people into a family like model and our community model, and they've never been, they don't have any family. A lot of the women that, are in our house, I mean, they don't have mothers, they don't have dads. I mean, they have them, but they've never been, they're incarcerated too, or either in active addiction. So you're dealing with people that aren't even familiar with, or you could be with, they're not even familiar with a family, what a family is supposed to be like. And sometimes it's scary for people. And they lack life skills, some of them, yes. And responsibility, yeah, for sure. We have more challenges than benefits, guys. Maybe. Anybody else? You guys gave some really great answers. And I really like the one about, well, you said inmates taking over the house, but, or run the asylum. You still have to have your house manager, as a house manager, you still have to have some type of authority, but that mutual respect where you've been there, you've done that. Because, you don't want them to take over your house, basically. And that's a challenge. Anybody else? Okay, moving right along, guys. So the type of leadership roles we're going to talk about, and we're looking at this from the point of view of a resident. You've got the move in, when you move in, the move in phase, your growth phase, and then your move out phase. So we're going to imagine like, okay, then your roles and your responsibilities are going to change like throughout your stay, right, as a resident. And you want to give, as a house manager, you want to give them more responsibility as they grow. So when a person moves in, they're not going to really have any responsibility other than, yourself. You're not going to throw, a lot of stuff at them. But as they recover, and they grow and they progress in their recovery, then you want to give them more responsibilities because, it's empowering. It makes them feel important and it helps them. It's beneficial. When you're trusted with certain roles and responsibilities. But you want to make sure that you do this, based on their strengths and their weaknesses, because we all have weaknesses. You don't want to give them too much where they're not going to be successful, because then it could backfire and they're not going to feel good about themselves. And that's the whole point of giving them these additional responsibilities, is to empower them and to make them feel good and to keep them progressing. Not, we don't want them to feel better. We don't want to give them too much before they're ready. Anybody have any questions so far? You guys can unmute yourself if you need to, or put something in the chat. And basically, guys, this is like a reward as your resident is progressing, you know, in the recovery, and they've been there for a certain time period. You want to reward them. You want it to be a positive, you know, reinforcement, or, you know, so an additional responsibility is a reward to some, unless you give them something really horrible. I had an example I was going to tell you guys. I don't know if time is going to allow, but we have a in our program, we have also an additional program. It's the Get Fresh Garden. You know, because I want to teach these women self-sustainability. You know, it's important for them to love and nurture, you know, a plant. And it's great when they see it, you know, growing, and they're responsible for it. And we also have, we just added chickens and ducks, we call them chucks, and one goose. But, you know, the responsibility of getting the coop secured at night is a big responsibility. We're not going to just trust, you know, anybody, a new resident basically that's moving in, with the responsibility of keeping the coop secured, because something could happen and it could be really, really awful for them if they, you know, if that something happened. So you don't want to give them too much at once. So no questions. Okay, let's move on. Moving right along. Let's see. Okay, so the minting meter. Jason is going to handle the minting meter, and you guys, there's going to be a series of questions. So just pretend that you are this resident for these questions, for the sake of these questions, which he's going to put in the chat. How do you feel when you're moving in, when you're this resident, when you first move into the, you know, recovery house? How do you feel? How do you feel when you're living there? You know, you've been there for a while, you're settled in, you know, and then how do you feel when you're moving out? Think about all of these things and go for it.
And Angela, if you will unshare, and then I will share my screen so they can see
Absolutely.
the Mentimeter.
And I am trying to get back to that screen. There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So I dropped in the chat a link where you can take a poll. And as you answer that poll, then we'll form a word cloud. And the purpose is really to kind of get in that mindset of, you know, someone moving into the house, and, you know, what are their typical thoughts or feelings. And that helps us, you know, from a role perspective, kind of remember what it was like. So we see folks are saying nervousness, excitement, apprehensive, uneasy. We also have in the chat, Lori said, scared to move in, comfortable while living there, maybe nervous when moving out. Yep, there's a couple there. The words that are bigger are those that are being used more often. So we see anxious, nervous, and uneasy are words that are trending. All those are very true. Guarded, afraid, want to get it right. Yes, that speaks to me. That's always anxiety for me. All right, so that's somebody that's moving in. I'm going to advance the next question, which, what are the typical feelings and thoughts of somebody that's living in the house? So they've moved in and they're going through that growth phase. Maybe they're there for a month. Maybe they're there for 6 months. What are the typical thoughts and feelings? And again, we want to, we're doing this because we need to think about what is the role of that manager and senior residents to support individuals when they're in this phase. So let's see, in the chat, we see that sense of family, as well as Raquel says, you know, isolation. I'm a person that feels both of that at the same time. Being of service, grateful, and here in the word cloud, encouragement, overwhelmed, comfortable, supported, relaxed, irritable, plate full, proud, empowered. So you can see there's a mixed bag of feelings and thoughts. And it's important to remember that when we're developing, leadership roles and responsibilities. All right, great stuff, folks. One more question, because there are people that are moving out. Let's see. So grateful, comfortable, empowered, and supported are trending words here. All right, we're going to advance to the last question, and that is, what are the typical feelings and thoughts of someone moving out of the recovery home? This might be a planned move out. This may be an unplanned move out where they're asked to leave. So what are feelings and thoughts there? I see several more answers here in the chat. I'm not sure which one of the questions. Let's see, I see nervous, fear, excited, nervous, excitement, scared, fear, nervousness, proud. I think that, one of the takeaways we can have is it's a mixed bag of emotions and thoughts. And so making sure that we are developing leaders and roles and responsibilities that take all this into consideration. All right, we've got lots of great feedback and participation here. Looks like excited and nervous are some trending words around someone moving out. And with that, let's see, we've got Misty coming in. Let me admit her. And then I'm going to unshare so that you can pick it back up and share. Thank you for everybody participating. That was a lot of great engagement.
Yes, thank you, guys. And it seems like the in and moving out are some of the same feelings you have when you're moving in and you're moving out. So yeah, so Jason said we just need to keep that in mind. There's a variety of different feelings that somebody might be feeling. Okay, so are you guys ready to go to your breakout groups? Do you remember the breakout groups you were in last week?
I have one question. Someone is logged into this as iPhone. Wait, is iPhone gone now? Never mind. Sorry, I was trying to figure out who iPhone was, but it looks like iPhone is no longer in the room. So never mind.
I am going to, or Jason, do you want to put the link in the chat? But before you guys click on it and go to the Google Slides, I want to very quickly, you remember you guys named your house last week, right? You made the rules and you picked the color and all that stuff. All of this is going to be on the slide, but let's see here. We're going to do the questions. So Hope House, you are going to start on slide 4, and the House of Hope, you will start on slide 9. And then we want to talk about the possible roles of a senior resident and then the house manager. So you've got, can you guys hear me? Somebody?
You just want this?
So the possible roles of a senior resident versus, and then the house manager. What are going to be the roles when you're treating a resident or helping a resident that's moving in? And what are going to be your roles and responsibilities when they're in their growth phase and then moving out? What would be the roles or your responsibilities? And then the same with your house manager. The moving in, the moving or the growth phase, and then the moving out.
So we see some people that said that they remember they were a red team. So the red team was group 2. And last time y'all talked about your ideal house. And rather than the house being red, y'all wanted sage. So all the red slides have been turned to a sage color now. So if you were red, it's now sage.
Yeah, my apologies. You don't have to remember what group you were in because they're going to put you in your breakout groups, right, guys?
Yeah,
Right.
It'll become apparent once
Yeah,
you're all in
sorry.
there.
I should have clarified.
So yeah, we have a purple group and a sage green group. And if you don't remember what it is, then probably the majority of the people that you're in with are going to know which group you are. And I know some people weren't here last week, so you've been sorted into a group.
Okay, and you guys remember, pick somebody to record it on the Google Docs, and then somebody, when we come back, to report it to all of us. And I guess maybe like 10 to 12 minutes. What do you guys think? How long do you think you'll need? 10 minutes, okay? All right.
Participants back in the room. So I think we have everybody back, Angela.
All right, guys, welcome back. You guys, I trust that you've all picked a reporter to, I see everybody's got a recorder, so that's great. And there's a lot of great answers on here. Sorry, there's a piece of fuzz. So we're gonna start with group one, the purple house or the Hope House. Can't see the whole thing now. Who is the reporter for group one? Or who wants to report for group one?
I will.
Thank you.
My name is Tiffany.
Hi,
Hi.
Tiffany.
Possible roles of a senior resident when someone else is moving in the recovery home. Prepare the room, making sure it's clean. Greet the new resident. Have a welcome bag ready. Tour of the house and resident introduction. And explain unwritten house rules. While living in the recovery home, they make sure chores are done, making a chore list. Follow the rules, leading by example. Keeping own recovery first and boundaries. Go between residents and staff, model recovery. And then moving out of the recovery home, making sure they have all of their things, making sure the room is clean, give them a change of address packet, help them load and move stuff, giving words of encouragement, inviting them back to speak to new residents, and invite them to join an alumni group and continue to touch base.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Tiffany, so much. I like that, keeping your own recovery first. That's important. And that kind of goes along with, you know, giving them too much responsibility. We want to make sure that they got to practice their self-care and, you know, take care of yourself first too. So anybody have any other comments or questions on this for the group one? Tiffany, do you want to do the house manager? I see you guys didn't get to all of it, and that's okay, because I didn't give you guys much time. I was kind of rushing there at the last minute. I thought we were more ahead of time than we were. Does anybody else want to report for the house rules, or you want to do it again, Tiffany?
You good. Possible roles of a house manager when someone else is moving into the recovery home. Make them feel welcome, intake paperwork, making sure their basic needs are taken care of, making sure the house is a safe and welcoming environment, show them around the house, collect rent, introducing them to other residents, and making sure they complete outcome surveys whenever possible, as well as recovery plans.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. We got some time if you guys from group one want to add anything else to, you know, while they're living in the recovery home and moving out, what you would do, the responsibilities or roles of the house manager. You guys just want to chime in and mute yourself.
Open door policy for the office. They can come in and talk to you anytime.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Have an open door policy for your office. They can come in and talk to the housing manager at any time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, that's a great answer. Thank you.
So are you talking about a live-in house manager?
Well, either way, I guess. I mean, right?
Okay.
I mean, if
Okay.
you're
Well,
living there, or if you're just there, you would have, I mean, maybe not an office per se, but you want to have, so to speak, an open door policy where if you may not be in an office, but you are approachable.
well, yeah, the house manager should relate to the staff, whether a client is compliant, as a client is late on curfew all the time, the client is not doing his chores, if the client is being combative or threatening to other house members, other residents. And so, yeah.
I think you're in my house.
No, I do. I'm I'm the director of the men's program at Arc Recovery, and I've
Gotcha.
been a house manager for like 11 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a difficult job, guys, but it's so rewarding and it's well in demand. So thank you again, guys, for taking this training, and thank you so much for all you do, for real. All right, group 2, you guys ready?
I
Oh,
had
sorry.
one other thought, just somewhere the residents need to know where the policies are, where they can find the policies
Mhm.
at all times.
Yes, absolutely,
it
absolutely.
should be in the house.
They should be right in the living room or in the common area.
Well, especially if they're ORH certified, they absolutely should be in the
Yes.
house.
Absolutely.
I know that.
And they forget, so you might need to remind them. Thank you, Jason, for typing that in. Thank you. Accountable window policy. What about, the house manager when somebody's moving out? You guys have anything else? I know, like I said, I'm sorry that I rushed you guys. I thought we were shorter on time than we were. Group 1. So when you're the house manager and you're moving out, what would be some of your responsibilities or some things that you could, give to the house manager, the roles that you would expect them to take on when somebody's moving out?
Maybe making sure that they have a good plan lined up and like their sober support, like who they would call first if something were to happen type plan.
Right. What if it's an unplanned moving out? You guys have any ideas on that? What would the house manager do then?
In certain cases, offer the client resources. Yeah, because some clients are, not willing to do the work, so
You gotta want it, right?
I'm gonna let somebody else talk.
I'm just sorry. All right, guys. These are all good answers. These are excellent answers. Thank you guys so much. You guys don't have anything else from group 1, we will go to group 2. So you guys are going to be on slide 9 and share my screen. Okay, do we have a reporter for group 2?
Alrighty.
Thank you, Melissa.
Possible roles of a senior resident when someone is moving in the recovery home: making them feel welcome, help them get acclimated, show them how the house runs. Show them how the house runs in the roles, taking them to meetings and role model. Living in the recovery home, continue to be an example, making sure they have the resources they need, holding each other accountable, build life skills, make sure others feel safe, lead a house meeting. And moving out of the recovery home, help pack and carry out belongings, give encouragement, help with a safe exit plan, help transition to life after recovery housing, connect with support numbers and / resources.
Excellent, guys. These are awesome answers. Thank you guys so much. Does anybody have any input on it? On the roles of the senior resident? I like holding yourself accountable when you're in the growth phase. You've got to hold yourself accountable. You're essentially, you are responsible, or your residents are responsible for the safety of the house, and you have to, have them hold themselves accountable. Because making sure others feel safe. You want everybody to feel safe. And that goes hand in hand with, holding each other accountable. Life skills, leading a house meeting, continue to be an example. That's awesome. These are awesome answers. Resources. Yes, these are good. These are awesome, guys. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. moving along to the possible roles of a house manager. Oops. And if you guys want to just chime in, like I said, I'm sorry that I rushed you guys. I thought that we were behind on time and we weren't really. So if you guys just want to chime in, group 2, the roles of a house manager for moving in, when somebody's moving in, what would a house manager be doing or should be doing?
Moving in, one would be prepare the room and the bed.
Mhm.
And here at ARC Recovery, we actually have like welcoming baskets for the clients. That way, when they move in, you know, sometimes people they're coming straight from like treatment and stuff. So, you know, they don't have much. So there'll be, you know, just some like basic essential needs stuff that they need. So like a welcoming basket, like a laundry basket, you know what I mean? Washcloths,
Yeah.
Make sure they have
towels,
food.
laundry soap, you know what I mean? Just certain
Mhm.
things like that. So,
Yeah. We have what we call a dignity bag for the women that, you know, we get coming out of incarceration. And you're right, a lot of them don't have anything. Well, ours don't have anything. But, you know, and a lot of people, we recognize that, you know, not just because you're in incarceration, people in recovery, a lot of, you know, they don't have anything like the soap and the hygiene items, basically, and laundry, you know, supplies. And that's a great answer. Yeah. Chris,
Have an intake or like an orientation for the new resident.
Absolutely.
Angela, if you hit escape, I think what I'm typing will show up on screen. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you know, as you get you know, the house manager gets more, or the senior resident gets more responsibilities, it's going to empower them in their own recovery. You know, just even giving the tour of the house and giving the orientation, like you guys just mentioned, I mean, that makes people feel good. It makes them feel important, and they should feel important and feel good. So, but again, we don't want to overwhelm
them. I feel
like
like you could also, sorry, I'm trying to think of the words, direct them in the right, or lead them in the right direction of, so like, you know, say they don't know how, they need to get like Medicaid, food stamps, like direct them to the person who could help them with that, because I'm sure all places have somebody who can help them, you know what I mean? And we have somebody like at our place that does that, you know.
Yeah, their benefits.
Like, yeah. Or like set up doctor's appointments, you know.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah, that's a great answer. Yeah, to schedule their transportation once they, you know, you get their appointments. The women in our house are required to have a mental health assessment and a physical and a dentist, gyno, you know, whatever else they need. But, you know, we have to schedule that. We get them sent with their benefits. They usually have Medicaid already, but, you know, their food benefits. And then we have to do the transportation. So you're right. That's a big responsibility or a role for somebody that, you know, has been there a while, that has progressed to that and shows, you know, interest and strength in that area. That's a great answer. And you want to kind of, you know, delegate or, you know, the responsibilities as you can. We pride ourselves in promoting from within, you know, and this is kind of what it is what the social model is, you know, you want to give, you know, your residents and the more responsibility and, you know, advance them to house manager, senior resident, and recovery capital, right?
we also like to celebrate recovery time. Like when people are living in the home.
When they're leaving the home, you said?
When they're living in the home. So like if somebody, you know, like reaches a year,
like 6 months
or something, you know, yeah, absolutely.
60 days, 30 days is a milestone, you know, I mean, that's a big deal.
Take them to a meeting.
It's a big deal, but you know, I mean, yeah, the milestones are awesome. We have, we've done like the 30-day and then the 6 months with, you know, our girls, you know. And that's just in the house, you know, a lot, even though they were in recovery in prison, they don't, sometimes a lot of people don't count that. I mean, we'll count it, you know, I mean, you were, I'm stating it's probably harder in prison than it was, you know, out here, but Yeah.
Angela, we may want to take a break.
Okay.
We are getting close to break time so that we have plenty of time to talk about environment during the
Okay.
second half.
Yeah. Okay. Are you guys ready to take a break? Okay, 10 minutes, right? All right, and if you guys would just leave, like, stop your video and mute yourself, just leave the session on. Don't log out of Zoom, right? Okay.
Thanks,
We'll see you
everybody.
guys back in 10 minutes.
Come back at 7 past the top of the hour.
All righty, so home-like, family-like environment. I apologize. So this second half, we're going to be focusing on the recovery house and it being a home-like, family-like environment. This is one of my favorite topics throughout this cohort. I think that it is very important that everybody understand these two topics and that each recovery home reflects these two things as well. So let's get started here. And the social model environments of home-like and family-like environments are the architectural and functional functionality of the home. The architectural aspect is, you know, the design of the home and the furnishings inside of it, and maybe the pretty pictures on the wall, or the, you know, motivated quotes on, you know, the walls and things of that nature, and the outside appearance of the home, and that it blends in with the community and its surroundings. So that is what they mean by architectural aspects of the home. The functional aspects includes the activities and the interactions, and maybe the, you know, the day-to-day functions and programming, and, you know, what makes it, you know, a home, a recovery home. How people are, you know, treated or welcomed, or, you know what I mean, that they are functioning like a family and not just a bunch of people living in a house together and hopefully we stay sober kind of deal. So with that, let's move on to this next slide. So with that, I want to start with this Mentimeter mediation. John will, or Jason will throw the link down in the chat for us. And this is just kind of gives you an idea and shares some thoughts on what we imagine the environment to be like is in the home-like, family-like environment here. So we will, is that down in the chat, Jason, or?
Yep, I put their polling questions down in the chat.
I gotta open it up.
Yeah, if you click on that link, it should take you to where the word
Perfect.
will be.
Here we go. Sorry. We ran through this too, and my memory is shot, obviously. Okay, so let's do.
There you go.
Perfect. So we already got some. We got accountability, bond, safety, warmth, at peace, plants. Everybody loves plants. Hopefully we don't kill them all. So
don't kill any of them, Amber.
But we got some plants. I do not have a green thumb. I will kill everything. I've killed an aloe plant before, so that is not my specialty. I brought all of my succulents in for the winter and they are struggling hard. So we got togetherness, hope, common space, supportive, pictures, comfortable, cozy, the curb appeal, feel protected, celebrations. And I think we talked about this at the first half of Angela touched on, and a couple of the classmates touched on, you know, recognizing people for their lengths of sobriety and their accomplishments that they have overcome since they've been sober, whether that be so simple of, you know, getting an identification card, you know, or, you know, getting a job. Like those are things that we want to celebrate in the home. So people have the motive to want to keep trudging forward. These are great things that, you know, would make you see or feel notice in a home-like environment of a recovery home. Fantastic. Do we have any things in the chats that somebody put down that they didn't put in the Mentimeter? I don't
Nope.
see any.
No, it looks like everybody's gotten used to Mentimeter, so great.
Perfect,
participation in
that's
Mentimeter.
great. Cool, so let's move on. We do have another, I believe there's another one later on, but we'll move on for the time being. Let me get back to the slide, and then we'll open up for
Yeah,
a little
if you
bit of
if you want to go to the next slide, or do you want to go back out to your session slides?
back out to my session slide.
So if you take your cursor, you see you have different browsers. It's that one there. That's your breakout, and that one is, there you go.
Gotcha, here we go, sorry.
You're doing good.
All right, so why is creating a home-like, family-like environment important? Can we get some discussion going a little bit?
So people feel safe when they come.
Yeah, Melissa, for sure.
You know, like it's scary when you go. I mean, I was in a recovery house, you know, when at the beginning, you know, thank God I didn't feel that way when I first went there. I mean, of course you're nervous and you are scared, but if you go into a place and it feels safe and, you know, comfortable, it's easier. I feel like it's easier for people to open up, for people to share, for people to express how they feel, so people can begin to heal and grow and do the things that they need to do. Because it's difficult if somebody's scared and nervous and they don't feel safe or comfortable living somewhere to be able to work on themselves while having to deal with all those feelings and emotions. And so I feel like that's very, very, very important.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing that. That was great insight. Anybody else?
I think it also will help with since it's a transition from, you know, where they were to, you know, hopefully at some point getting, at least for me, it was when I stayed in a recovery house, there was a transition from inpatient treatment. Then I went to, you know, the recovery house, and then I went to my own place, you know, so it kind of helped teach me again how to live have a home and have my own, you know, take care of my own space, things that I didn't do in active addiction, you know? So it kind of helped transition me from where I was to where I wanted to be, and help teach me in the meantime.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree any more with you on that, Tiffany. My experience was very similar to that we just didn't know basic life skills, and being in this environment kind of shows us, you know, how to do that kind of stuff. Fantastic.
Right.
Thank you for your guys' feedback. We'll
We've
move
got
forward.
some cool stuff in the chat. Barbara put, you're still cared for and allowed to practice new behaviors, even if you get them not quite right at first. Sometimes I'm still not getting them right. And then Jamie said to make the transition easy.
Definitely. All right, we'll move forward. So this is a group exercise. So you guys will go back out into your breakout groups. So far we have spent some time thinking about what makes a home and family-like environment and why is it important. Now we're going to explore ways to promote recovery supportive environments with these architectural and functional elements. So you guys will be put into your breakout groups. The link is it will be put in the chat. you'll find a single slide in there that is, let me see if I can get to it real quick so I can show you. A single slide in there that has the two panels. Architectural aspects, functional aspects, and this is what you guys are going to be kind of coming up with ideas about, you know, different activities or different interactions that you guys can do in a recovery home as a family. And then, you know, what kind of design you will be wanting to promote in your guys' recovery home that you're pretty much making up on your own. So, we'll break out into that. How many minutes do we feel comfortable giving for that? About 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I would do 10.
10, okay, so we'll break you out. Lisa will move you out to your breakouts and we'll do 10 minutes on that. When you come back, like Angela said, I would just have one person recording and then one person reporting when you guys get back from your breakouts.
All right, looks like everybody's back.
Perfect. Purple group.
I'll report. My name's Tiffany.
Hi, Tiff.
Hi. How to promote a home and family-like recovery house. Architectural aspects for design, furnishings, and location. We put non-institutional furnishings, appropriate window coverings, clean carpet, functioning locks on doors, key codes to doors, pictures, a common space, plants, TVs, books, Wi-Fi, real dishes. We want it within walking distance of shopping and employment possibilities, a designated smoking area, a quiet space to work on classes, a computer, like possible GED, and space to share one-on-one with peer support, coach, or with each other privately. For functional aspects like activities and interactions, we put meetings, sharing meals, budgeting classes, community volunteer work, parenting classes, group activities. They can celebrate birthdays and anniversaries together, choosing a day to deep clean the house together, cookouts, recovery activities, bowling, going to the movies, retreats, house meetings, and holding each other accountable.
Those are wonderful on both sides of that. Good insight there. A lot of great things listed. Let's move on for the sake of time to the Sage team. If anybody would like to start reporting out that list.
I'll read again. How to promote a home and family like. The architectural aspects, comfortable furniture, close to a church, big dining room table, kept up with outside lawn mowed, no trash in yard, etc. Plenty of pantry space, inspirational messages throughout the house, good lighting, outdoor sitting area, porch swing, welcoming environment, and color scheme. For the functional aspects, family house dinners, literature groups, decorate for each holiday, game nights, accountability meeting, daily, nightly check-ins, house outings, like visit museums together, maybe bowling or ice skating or whatever. Internal conflict resolution, house meeting weekly, mandatory for all residents, maintaining a positive atmosphere, daily meditations, and weekly peer support.
Wonderful. Those are all great things, and those are definitely things that you would want to have inside and outside of your home, for sure. That is what's going to keep our residents in the home and moving forward and feeling like they are a part of something great. Alrighty, so we're going to move forward. to, you know, home and family-like environments are healthy and safe. To reinforce practical knowledge around health and safety, these next couple of slides are going to, you know, are case studies and examples of how they will be completed together. Health and safety case study, converting a nursing home into a recovery house. This is a large residentially zoned family home, but for various reasons, some recovery homes are sited in buildings that are designed for something else. But our first case study looks at this nursing home being converted into a recovery home. It's not unfamiliar. It is done. So you do have, you know, all of these. This is kind of like an outline of all of that. The nursing home has a large front entrance area that leads to the central nursing station that is leading away from the different wings of the nursing home or the now recovery home that will be where like the residents reside at. With this basic layout, you might not have all of those extra you know, peace and quiet rooms that you guys were talking about that might be something that you would want in a recovery home, those extra areas. Moving forward, what is the max occupancy, sorry, of, you know, something like this. So the building in total would be 6,000 square feet, 4 wings, 8 sleeping rooms, would equal 32 sleeping rooms altogether. Each sleeping room measuring 10 feet by 9 feet equals, you know, 90 square feet per room. So looking at that, we would look at the ORH standard square footage, and the standard square footage for ORH is 70 square feet for the first person, 50 square feet for every additional after that. So if each of these sleeping rooms is 90 square feet, this is basically saying that we can only have 1 person in each room. Maybe my math is wrong, but I think that I'm right. Does that make sense?
Yes, because to have 2 people under ORH standards, you would need 70 square feet for the first person and an additional 50 square feet for the second. So 2 people, a 2-person room would need 120 square feet, and this room is only 90 square feet.
All right. Now, this is, you know, based off of the NAR and ORH standard, also sets minimum requirements for toilets and showers. And you have to have, you know, so many showers for so many residents, which they must be at least 1 toilet, 1 shower, 1 sink per every 6 residents. So you also have to make sure that something like this is going to be able to accommodate. You can't have, you know, 12 residents, but only have, you know, one shower, 1 sink, 1 toilet in there. That's not going to pass an ORH, and that's not going to be sustainable for the living conditions for the amount of people that we have in that home. Remember, there are 32 sleeping rooms, and each sleeping room has a half bath, meaning 1 toilet, 1 sink in it. There are 4 wings in this layout that each has a full bath, meaning it has a, you know, shower, toilet, and sink. So what is the maximum occupancy under this scenario? Can anybody do the math real quick? Any mathematicians? would this home meet the standard for the 32 residents? in
No,
the
it would not
home?
it would not meet the standard because they don't have enough shower or baths because you have 6 people per
Exactly.
wing, so that's yeah, you're toting the line there.
Yeah,
Because
the
I'm
real
a
fine
pure,
line there.
there's a that's a different conversation. Anyway.
Perfect. I like that. Thanks, Doug, for that insight. You are correct. This house would not measure up to the amount of entities that it would need to have for the amount of residents that it can hold. Moving forward. This is a single family home that we're going to be talking about next. Here is the layout of this home. Just go, take a quick look at that. And this is a large 3-bedroom, 2 full bath home with lots of community space, a den, large garage area, has plumbing for showers and sinks. So this is kind of, according to our breakout study, this is the home that we're all looking for to make a recovery house, right? This is the ideal. So let's, see if this is the one that meets the requirements. Based on the Ohio Recovery Housing Standards, what is this maximum occupancy? My specialty is not math, so here we go. As we learned before, the standard is what?
$70 feet for the first one, 50 feet for each additional resident after. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
120 square feet, so it would be able to hold 2, 4, 6 residents, right?
Looks to be that way.
No, I think the master's bigger, so 208 square feet. You got 70 for the
forget about
first
the master.
person.
That's
So 7 people.
60, 360, 428.
70 for the first one.
That's
2,
620, right? 628.
but even for
1, 2,
for-
10
3.
people.
even for ORH, the beds have to be 6 feet apart. So far as for their standard. So if you have 2 people in a room, the bed needs to be 5. I think it's 5 or 6 feet apart.
So the master bedroom, bedroom 1 and bedroom 2, and maybe the den, you would want to avoid cannibalizing the dining room and the family room because you would need them to cultivate a family and home-like environment. What for the rooms would the walk-in closet would need to be opened up and the garage would need a lot of work and building permits to include, making sure that you have the egresses and all that stuff included in it. You guys are phenomenal at math. I got some algebra homework if you guys need, you guys want to help out with that.
Yeah. If you
for
advance
sure.
advance the slide, I'm trying to think if we've got some other
My goodness.
helpful
There's too
hints.
many numbers, I'm just my eyes are doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah. Amber, if you try advancing the slides. Yeah, so if the closet and the garage, though, that's extra information. That's just it's a trick.
Right.
60, 460.
There
So
you go.
wouldn't you fit 3 in the master, 2 in the bedroom 1 and 2 in bedroom 2? So that would equal 7.
Yes, that is correct.
And then somebody asked in the comments, Kayla said, does it change for a 3-bedroom room? Because like for one person, it's 70, for 2 people, it's 50. So would that be like,
So it's 70 and then a 50 for each additional person. So if you have 70, in order for it to have 50, it would need, I don't know, maybe Doug can help you out with that because he's great at math. But you would
no,
need,
I'm an ORH peer reviewer as well. So like I was saying, the beds have to be, I think it's 5 to 6 feet apart. But even though you're gonna, if your house is big enough, you still got the square footage. But far as for the bedrooms, the beds have to be a certain amount, certain distance apart. And you have to have a closet, you have to have an egress. And yeah, she said it all. Miss Amber.
All right. Again, so egresses, these are, we're just gonna skim through this. These are the safety outs of the home, just making sure that if the house blows up and catches on fire, everybody can get out safely, and each room and each living area has a safety out in it.
So, can I ask you a question, Amber?
Yes.
So if you have a house and you converted, you made some rooms in the basement, what do you have to have?
So you would still have to have an egress in the room that you have in the basement. So you would need two ways of exiting. So through a window in the room that was big enough, and then once you exit the room and then you're into the basement, a safe egress to have two different ways to exit the room safely.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is, we're just gonna skim over this for the sake of time. This is just kind of what me and Doug were just talking about, how if you convert a room, you still have to have egresses added in if you don't already have them, and things of that nature. Bedroom checks. This is the fun part. This is just making sure your room is up to standard, that it has a smoke alarm, egress, personal storage, it's hazard free from all slips, falls, flammable things, pests, smells, dirt and grime, all that stuff. Oh, we're at the wrap up already. Okay.
Not good that the window, the egress is blocked by furniture.
Good catch.
Right.
But
For sure.
thinking about this, what else
So
do you
what
notice
is
about
like,
this room?
so with this, yes, that is something that is, wrong with this picture.
You throw that chair
you
through that
see-
window and jump out.
Right. So you have furniture that is blocking the egress, and, some other things that aren't, in this picture is a smoke alarm. There's no smoke alarm anywhere in this picture at all. So this, this room wouldn't technically pass because of where the furniture is placed, and that there isn't a smoke alarm visible, at least in the picture anyways, for that. So we're wrapping up. Does anybody have any questions concluding session 2? Any insight, any feedback? Today we explored a lot of things. The house manager's role in the home and their responsibility, with an eye towards empowering and peer leadership skills and supporting the residents and who they are moving in, and how we can give them the structure and the environment and the care that they need to move past, this obstacle in their life and want to do better for themselves. We also looked at how we can cultivate and maintain a family and home-like environment as well. Next week in session 3, we're going to explore 2 more.
Yeah, you better be cool.
Sorry.
That's okay. So next week, looking forward to seeing you guys all again next week. We're going to explore 2 more social model domains, peer governance and peer authority. So we'll keep you guessing on that. A lot of you probably already know what that is. So we will look into that a little bit further. Do we have any questions? We got about 13 minutes remaining.
I got something.
Sure.
What is the opinion of pets in the home?
My opinion?
The group opinion.
Okay.
We don't have
Does
pets
anybody
in
want to
our,
share on
Although I
that?
would value yours too.
Sure, no, for sure.
we don't have pets in our homes because we have carpet and some people are having trouble taking care of themselves because you can't count on anybody to be accountable and responsible for a pet, and that reduces wear and tear on the property as well.
We don't have pets just because
No
some
pets.
people could be allergic.
But
We're
just,
allowed to goldfish.
yeah. And just remember that, you know, this is essentially a landlord-tenant situation. And the landlord can say, no pets. Okay, so maybe a resident wants to bring a pet. Well, the policies of the recovery house, you know, you can say this is a pet-free residency.
I think this is a really good question, and I went ahead and put it in the parking lot because it might be even a bigger question than we think. So you used the word pet. How would it be different if someone was bringing in their service animal? Say if somebody was, sight impaired and they have a dog that they use that stays with them all the time. And if you were to tell that person, no, you can't bring your dog in, we have a no pet policy, how would that cause discrimination under the American with Disabilities Act? And so there's it's to really go through the reasonable accommodation process is going to take more than the time that we have here, but this is really good information to have, and we can get you that, what that looks like. So you can have a no pets policy. Just know that with any rule that you have in the house, there can be somebody that would request a reasonable accommodation based on their disability and needing that accommodation to be in the house.
I am familiar with the ADA, and the service animal it's not considered a pet. It is considered a working,
Yep.
a working animal. So I know it falls under different category, but not to be confused with the what's the other one? The emotional support.
Emotional support, yes.
That is a completely different entity.
Yep.
I have a different question. What if somebody wanted to bring a video game console into your recovery house?
So we allow the residents to have video games and TVs in their rooms, but they don't have them in like the common areas and whatnot. We want it to feel like a home-like environment. So if they, want to bring a video game, they can bring a video game.
Our residents, they're not allowed to have TVs or game consoles in their room, but they're allowed to have it in the living room, or because we have 2 living rooms. So yeah,
yeah, we have, they have common areas to where they have TVs. We provide Netflix, but as far as like the game stations and stuff like that, we have them keep that in their room because they have a time frame throughout the day that they're not allowed to just hibernate and isolate in their room. So allowing the game station in their room versus in the common areas, it allows them to not just be sitting in front of a TV playing video games all day.
Right.
Still is limited and monitoring their video game usage. Because I'm a gamer and I can sit in front of that TV on the weekends for 72 hours and not think twice about it.
And that's why we don't have video games.
Right.
Well, you know, it differs from agency to agency, house to house.
Oh,
Your
absolutely.
policy and procedures.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else? Appreciative.
Sure. Everybody have a great week. I'll talk to y'all next week.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug. Have a
Everyone.
great day.
Well,
All right. Bye.
thanks, everybody.